The following is a Candlepin Stars and Strikes rebroadcast featuring some of our most memorable programs.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Look at this. Look at
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is sponsored in part by Somerville Lumber. Looks good. Looks good. That's the goal. It's a goal. Candlepin Stars and Strikes is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Burke.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to semifinal week. Candlepin Stars and Strikes. First from Park Place Lanes here in Windham. I'm Doug Brown, along with Dan Murphy. And as we reach the semifinals in our singles format, we have a guy who's put 2 wins together, and not many people have been able to do that this season. In fact, he's only the second, Paul Berger being the other.
2 wins, yeah, in 2 different bold matches. The first week at 398, bowled tremendously, and last week squeaked by with a lower score. But like I said last week, that's a lot of times you stay on for a long time if you can sneak by with that low score once in a while.
All right, we'll see if the luck continues. Let's meet our 2 bowlers. First of all, our number 5 seed from Newport, New Hampshire, looking for his 3rd straight win, Dave Blaine.
Okay, Dave comes in averaging 121, has a high single of 186. His roll-off score was 638.
And as Dan mentioned, 2 weeks ago he rolled a 398 in his victory. Last week it was a 352 as he knocked off Roger Bowden. And so today Dave will go for 3 in a row against our number 2 seed from Revere, Massachusetts, Tom Morgan.
Okay, and Tom comes in averaging 127, high triple 490, and his roll-off score getting right up there now at 686.
And, of course, money on the line, of course, not only for the runner-up here, but also for the winner, because they'll move into our championship match with a shot at the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. That'll come next week. We'll bring you up to date on our doubles competition as well, because, remember, Stars and Strikes doubles follows at 1 o'clock here on the Winds. But first, we've got 3 strings of bowling between Dave Blaine and Tom Morgan, and we'll get them started right after we get you started with these messages. Don't go away. All right, we're just about ready to get started. We are left with 3 bowlers as we move into the semifinals. Dave Blaine has come up from that number 5 spot to record wins over Mike Ferrante and Roger Bowden to move into the semifinals against our number 2 seed Tom Morgan. And next week, the winner of this match will face Steve Vadnais in our monthly championship match. The winner of that one, of course, to move into the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. So here is Dave Blaine looking for win number 3 in a row.
And it's a 10 box for Dave Blaine, starting off semi-final week. One of these 3 bowlers, so one of these 2 will take on Steve Vadnais next week, and the winner of next week will qualify for our Spring Tournament of Champions.
And before the first letters come in, I should correct something I said in the open. Paul Berger and Peter Flynn have also won back-to-back matches this year. In fact, Peter Flynn won 3 in a row to get into the Tournament of Champions. Peter Flynn, Bob Mazer, and Paul Berger, 3 that have already qualified. A couple of 10 boxes for Dave Blaine to start the match. And now it's Tom Morgan. Four horsemen left for Tom. 1, 2, 4, 7. Oh,
Will it go?
Yes, it will. Tom just kind of stood there and waited.
It was going to stand until he put his hands on his hips, and he says, "Now I'm coming down the lane if you don't fall down."
Don't
He
make
gave
me
it that
come
look.
down there.
That's right. So these are all the things that Dave Blaine is going to pick up. Rookie, he'll even tougher next time he comes on because he'll learn all these little tricks.
Tom Morgan was last here back in November when he lost to Joe Ashline.
One, 2, 8, 9 for Dave.
Well, he was right on the head pin, but that wood probably prevented the shot.
Yeah, really deflected the ball to the right. Try to make his third 10 in a row, and that he does. 30 after 3.
Dave is from Newport, New Hampshire, where he lives with his wife Helen and their 2 daughters, Jessica and Amanda. Dave was self-employed as a carpenter. Does a lot of his bowling at the Sunset Lanes in Newport. And he'll have the 1, 3, and 10 this time. Oh, nice shot.
Spare in the 4th.
His first mark. And another look.
One, 2 plus a triangle, 6, 9, 10 for Tom.
No, too much of the head pin.
Interesting choice. Decided to go after the 2 pin and jump it into the 6, 9, 10. It went right between the 6 and 9.
Well, the 1 and the 9.
Wood in between. Let's see if, oh, he's going to go by the head pin. Wood would have helped him with a 9.
And a 10 box. So Dave Blaine should take the lead with this fill ball on the spare in the 4th. 40 plus a ball, as you see.
Dropped that ball and actually hit the 6 and the 10 and got a tremendous break and leaves himself the 1, 3, 5, 9 and a couple pieces of wood, one directly in behind the 1 and the 3, which should help.
Nope, missed the head pin. If you missed it last week on Stars and Strikes doubles, Mike Poulin and Brian Uphold came up with a 16-pin victory, a very exciting match over at the Londonderry Bowling Center. And so coming up at 1 o'clock today, Mike and Brian will go for their 2nd win in a row. They will face Mike Sargent and Steve Vadney. Of course, Steve Vadney will be here next Sunday at noon, at least, for our championship match in singles. Quite possibly he may be here for both if he and Mike were to get a win today in doubles.
Spread eagle for Dave Blaine. And there's a piece of wood sitting right behind the 3 pin.
Nope. And speaking of next Sunday, of course, Super Bowl Sunday. And we hope that you'll have a chance to spend a part of it with us here on the Winds as we move to our championship week. I guess it's only appropriate that we should have our championship week on Super Bowl Sunday. And also Super Bowl Sunday is significant because it is the official opening date for the New England Sports Museum down at the Cambridge Side Galleria. We've been talking a lot about it during the course of the winter, and we'll continue to do so after the opening, I'm sure, but you'll be seeing in your NHCBA bowling centers information about fundraising activities for, oh, how about that for 10, Tom Morgan. You'll be seeing information about fundraising activities that actually Dan could probably fill us in on a little bit here.
Yes, it's in conjunction with the muscular dystrophy, the biggest fundraiser, and that's the bowl-a-thons that'll be going across the state of New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Maine as well. So if you're a bowler or a friend of a bowler, sponsor someone or go in and get a pledge sheet yourself. It's a great cause, the MDA, and also this year part of the proceeds will be going to the Candlepin exhibit at the New England Sports Museum. So should be a great time, and it's a great exhibit. If you can get a chance to get down to the mall in Cambridge, the Galleria Mall, it's something to see.
Come on, Dave. Let's go.
3-pin lead for Dave Blaine after 6 frames.
Four horsemen right plus the 8-pin.
Nope.
Match shaping up similar to the one last week. The bowlers seem to be on the head pin, don't seem to be getting that extra pin to fall to give them a legitimate spare leave. And starting out slowly, 1 spare apiece so far. Well, makeable spare in the 1-4-7, a piece of wood behind the head pin that should help with a 4-7.
No.
Maybe it wouldn't have helped.
Dave's average of 121, but through his first 2 weeks here on Stars and Strikes, he's done better than that. He's averaged 125. Three consecutive 8 boxes for Dave Blaine, and now Tom Morgan steps in. And he's through the center. Tom from Revere, Mass. He and his wife Linda have 2 children, 10-year-old Jamie and Kelly, who's 8. Tom does a lot of his bowling at the post office lanes in Lynn. And Tom is a partner in a very interesting organization and group called the Active Play Management Group. He's a partner in the organization, and talked a little bit about it the last time Tom was here.
Oh, there's a break.
Oh, yes.
Tom kind of looks back like, finally. You see him just going to trip the 3-pin, the 6-pin first, into the 3, and then pushing off for the 10.
Dave's in the pocket, but light this time, and Dave is kind of slumped a little bit at the foul line. He couldn't believe that happened.
He's got a piece of wood resting next to the 4-pin. If he can pinch the 4-pin on the left-hand side, he's got possibilities. Too far left. Yes, that active management group, that's a great concept, a great idea that Tom has, working with the young children, all different types of sports and activities. And I applaud Tom for doing that. That's We need a lot more people like that doing those things.
Well, Dave Blaine needs to make something happen here. This is a run of 8 boxes that he's had, 4 in a row. Well, there's 8 already, but it's not the 8 you want on the first ball.
Incredible. That was a good ball going in, and he leaves himself to 7-10, and let's see. Well, you'll have to play the wood on in front of the 7. You'd like it a little farther to the right, though, because the ball might deflect around the 7 pin. Let's see. No, he's going to cap it.
Oh.
So he'll be under 100 the first game. It's bad news. The good news is that Tom Morgan isn't setting the world on fire, at least thus far, but he is working on a strike now in the 8th.
Oh, yes. Almost a double strike. He'll shoot at the 4 pin. Oh, he kind of missed it a little bit, but he was able to cover it anyway.
Quickly gains a 12-pin advantage, and this is all gravy now, where he's opposite 2 open frames, so anything he can fill on this spare and get any other spares going out is going to be increase his lead. And that's a big one.
Boy, how close was he to a triple strike? He left a solid single pin in the middle. Now 119 plus 2 balls to come. Tom trying to clear a piece of wood out of the lane, and he finally gave up. He doesn't want to waste another good ball right down the middle of the lane to do that.
I don't want to say or tell anyone that the wood was laying across the lane or anything, but
Cindy Sissom gets it first time every time.
that's right.
She never misses.
109 through 9, 119th in the 10th, plus the 2 bonus balls. Tom Morgan will have a pretty good lead going into the second game.
It's a 128, so the lead is 32 as Tom Morgan records 59 pins in the last 3 boxes, coming from 2 pins down to take a 32-pin lead after 1. We'll be back with Game 2 and details on the bonus ball contest. $50 a little bit later on in the show. Don't go away. Our good friend Bob Perella, who, by the way, is not in a small way responsible for a lot of the success of the New England Sports Museum.
Thoughts exactly, yes. Going to mention that when he mentioned his name. Is very instrumental, him and Dave Collins, to at least getting the Candlepin part of it involved.
Rocking 5-pin, and Tom converts it for the spare to start Game 2.
That's 4 consecutive marks going back to the last few boxes of that first game.
2 strikes and 2 9-drops also. Not this time, though.
Try to cut the 2-pin over into the 6-10.
$10, very efficiently done. Dave Blaine trying to shake off that 96 opening game.
He's got to get him a little closer than this. And he seems to be throwing a pretty good ball, hitting the 1-2 pocket that time, and leaves himself to 5-9-10.
That time a piece of wood that appeared headed over into the corner to maybe take an extra pin or 2 was stopped dead in its tracks by another piece coming across. And he's left with this, and well, Well, he gave it a heck of an effort. And the 10. Who do you like in the Super Bowl next week?
Oh,
It's always
see
such
me
a-
Monday morning.
Boy, another one in the pocket, and Dave just can't believe it. He took a little walk after that ball.
Got the diamond 2, 4, 5, 8, which is bad enough, but he's also has a 10 pin standing.
Well, that's about the hardest 19 you'd ever see. Two balls
so.
that were in the pocket, and neither one was a spare leave. Tom Morgan, meanwhile, has him dancing down there. There's another 9 drop.
He's throwing a little harder than he did when he started this match and seemed to be mixing the pins a little better. Instead of going in full, he's taking a little bit of the break off the ball, coming in a little lighter on the head pin, and seems to be working. Spare in the third.
Brooklyn side this time, and not the extra pin that he wanted. The 7 and the 9.
With the wood turned, you might be able to just drive the 2 pieces of wood straight back. One take the 7, and one take the 9.
No.
Just missed the 9. And he'll try for the 10 box.
53 through 4. Dave Blaine has gone 8 consecutive boxes without marking. Well, he missed the head pin, but this may be better than what he's had prior.
I was just going to say, this may be his best leave in a long time, and he's finally missed the head pin.
See if he can carry it. The 1, 5, 8, and 9, and the 9 pin is still there. $10, but the lead balloons up to 46 now. And that time a half Worcester. I don't know, Dan. It seemed to me that Dave was consciously trying to throw the ball a little bit softer that time, that first ball.
Could be, and let up a little bit on it, and then left it out to the right. Although the leaves haven't changed much. He's looking at the 7-10 now.
Have to have a piece of wood taken care of up front. Well, Dave has had only the 1 mark so far, but it's a lot like last week. He's been on the head pin for the most part, but again, that primarily straight ball that he throws may be hurting him because it's cutting right through the center.
Could be, and you got to make the choice sooner or later. You need to change your angle and things like that, but we'll see if he can regroup. Right now, we'll take a short break, and we'll come back and finish game number 2.
Tom Morgan, the lead in the match. Boy, that was a solid sounding hit too.
Just the pins just aren't breaking as they usually do here at Park Place today. Take the 4-pin for a 10. 63 at the halfway point. There he kicks out the 10-pin, leaves himself the 2 and the 4 for a spare.
And the spare. Mark number 7 for Tom Morgan. Meanwhile, Dave Blaine continuing to struggle. He has just 1 mark in the match, and he's gone 10 boxes now without marking. There's a bit more of a pocket hit, and at least he's got something to shoot at here. The 2, 4, 5, and 7. Nope.
The frustration level builds with every ball that Dave throws. Can't seem to blame him too much. But you just gotta dig deep and just keep firing away. Hopefully they're gonna break for him. Meanwhile, Tom Morgan continues to pile up a pretty good sized lead. 47 right now, boxes completed. A little lighter, and he leaves himself at 2, 5, and 7.
With wood, maybe to help.
Or possibly to hurt on the 5-pin. Let's see what happens. Nope. Played it high enough. You see the replay, pushing everything from right to left, and now Tom Morgan will fill the spare in the 6th.
Through the heart for 6. And the 10, 89 through 7.
He's pinning well, hasn't left the pin standing through 7. All 10s and 3 spares for that 89 through 7.
I'm a little surprised that brother Mike isn't here to cheer on Tom.
That's true. Well, 3, 6, 10 with the 4. Drive the wood right straight. Wow, I thought the ball would carry through. And way Mike turned around. Yeah, thanks, Doug. Wait, Tom turned around. You got me thinking about his brother Mike. I think Tom thought he had made the shot as well.
10 box instead, 2 of them. Let's check that out.
So what happens to the ball? The ball flies around. It must have just caught the cap of that wood, deflected the ball to the right around the 610 instead of driving it right straight through.
Well, big ball here for Dave Blaine, not only because it's a fill ball and a spare, but also because he wants to try and take advantage of those 2 opens left by Tom Morgan, and he'll take 7.
1, 3, 6 left for Dave, trying to make it 2 in a row.
He's got it.
Crowd trying to pick him up a little bit.
Right in the pocket again, and he carries the extra pin this time.
It was a struggle, though. You look at he was looking at the 6-7. Finally, the 7 went down.
Well, Dave did exactly what he needed to do in those 2 boxes, Dan.
Certainly did. Reduces the lead now to 37, and he'll reduce that even more with a fill.
Tom hitting high on the head pin again, but he got away with it this time. He has the 3-6.
A nice piece of wood out front, too. Turn nicely for him and just drive it straight back. Should be no problem there. Spare in the 9th.
Mark number 8 for Tom Morgan. The winner of this one to get Steve Vadney next week in the championship match. Steve Vadney will be here at 1 o'clock today on Stars and Strikes Doubles with Mike Sargent, challenging Mike Poulin and Brian Uphold in the semifinal match there. Again, if you've been away for a couple of weeks, didn't get the word, Stars and Strikes Doubles has moved back to its original time at 1 p.m. immediately following us here on Stars and Strikes. So 2 full hours of Candlepin bowling every Sunday at noon here on the Winds. A 125 for Tom Morgan, 253 after 2.
Let's see if Dave Blaine can keep this string alive. 3 consecutive spares.
Diamond this time.
3, 5, 6, and 9 pins make up the diamond.
Oh! That close to 4 marks in a row.
Saw his reaction. That pin came sliding back, forth, a couple times in front of the 9 pin.
And a 9 it is. That was the 3 pin off the left sidewall and right in front of the 9. Well, kind of a break there.
Just barely touched the head pin, but he's looking at the 9-10. Now that would just rest against the 9 and 10 for a short period of time, but now it rolls way out in front of those 2 pins.
Well,
Possibilities red line, or if you're going to miss the red line, put it to the right of the red line, and the ball should take the 10 pin and the wood should take the 9.
yes. Well, Dave may be able to come back and win this second game. 7 or more will do that here on the fill. Of course, you'll still have a bit of a hill to climb in game 3, but he was down by almost 50 at one point, and now he gets the big 9 drop in the 10th for a 128 and a 2-game total 224. So 29 pins the difference. Tom Morgan with the lead. 1 game to go here on semifinal week. Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Don't go away. Well, Dave Blaine, who marked in 4 of the last 5 boxes in game 2, has put himself at least in position to make a run here. He was down by 47 at one point, so a little more manageable here going to the 3rd and final game, and then that staring at him in the first box.
Kind of hard to tell exactly how you want to attack that head pin, because it seems like hit them light, they weren't moving. That definitely the full is not the way. Maybe the reset button. Dave has got to try to find a way.
9 box to start. Wow. The 2, 5, and 7. The wood will be out of play probably, although it is moving still.
Yep, saw Dave's reaction. He thought he was far enough to the left where the ball would carry him off the 2 into the 7, but it didn't, so it's just 19 pins the first 2.
Boy, solid hit for Tom Morgan, the 5-10 with no wood.
Ooh, good effort. Almost tried, or almost did, cut the 5-pin into the 10.
Well, how do you play this one?
Stick of dynamite, and he's got to go for the head pin. And
nine. So Dave gains a pin with that 19 opening pair. Can't figure to do that every time, though. Lost that one to the right. And that close to coming back to getting it for a spare. Covers the 4-pin for the 10, but the marks have to come eventually if he's to have a chance.
eventually might have to be the next couple frames. At least put one up there, something to build on.
Oof.
Spread equal plus the 9-pin.
Pretty good effort. Nice 9, but just 38 through the first 4.
And Tom Morgan has the advantage if you consider it that, where he's bowling last.
The 3-7 for Tom.
This wood behind it might help. On the 3-pin, the ball or the pin could fly towards the 7. Oh, hit it flush.
Ten. Don't forget, next week, Championship Sunday on Super Bowl Sunday. Spend the early part of your day here on the Winds. You know, there'll be a lot of Super Bowl parties going on next Sunday, so just put a few appetizers out and get ready, warm up a little bit with us here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes and Stars and Strikes doubles. We'll be here, of course, from noon until 2 with our 2 championship matches. Right now, Tom Morgan in command, but still 6 boxes left in this one. We'll be back in a minute. Well, Dave Blaine has 6 boxes left to try and make something happen here.
The time has come. He's going to have to mount some offense in a hurry now.
He was able to put it together a little bit at the end of game 2. Nope, just a little bit off target. Seems like every pin he hits, he's hitting straight on.
Yeah, he's really punishing the ones he's hitting.
Well, here's a leave for you. The 1, 2, 5, 7, and 10. Nine it is. And Tom Morgan now comes up working on a spare. And he'll take 6.
Off that hit, yes, he definitely takes 6. Looked like he would have a half wish to right, but
Nine. Well, the lead right now 35 with 5 to go. The 1, 3, and the 9. Yes. Spare for Tom Morgan in the 6th. His 10th mark of the match, and here's how it happened. Dave Blaine.
Oh, no.
Don't tell me.
Would you believe this?
Oh, my. Sometimes when you have luck, it's just all bad. He had a triangle, and then a piece of wood just spun right out of the channel and took out the 3-pin, although it didn't turn out too badly. But at first, it looked like a straight-on hit like that would carry the 4 and the 5, or rather the 5 and the 6, but it didn't.
It was just a little farther to the left than he wanted to be, and it, with the coming in contact with the second piece of wood behind, it just spun it everything to the left. The wood on the right just twisted in between them. Should say that piece of wood on the left.
And that all set up because of that piece of wood that flew out and took out the 3-pin, which would have been his target pin. And now the 1, 8, 9, and 10. When things just aren't going your way, it seems like every time you throw a ball, you come up with a leaf you haven't seen before.
Create some new shots.
No, Dave carries that one. Well, who knows if he has that other spare, too. What that might have meant. Tom Morgan filling a spare and taking 7, but he'll have a split.
'79 through 7.
And off target right. I'm sure those of you who have been paying close attention in the last few minutes have noticed the familiar face in the background. Steve Vadney is here and doing a little advanced scouting for next week's championship match.
Dave Blaine for his final 2, working on a spare in the 8th. Sure, they're going to come now.
Of course they are. Nine-pin. 2 planks in front of it. And a third one to the left. Covers it for his 7th mark. All spares, no strikes today for Dave. This would be a good time to throw a couple. Not to be, though. Another spare, 3 in a row to end the game. So he'll fill this one now.
115 plus the ball. On 13.
Right.
On 13 plus the ball.
And it's a 9. So 122 and a 3-game total of 346. Tom Morgan already at 341. And there it is. 6 pins to win. Tom will move over to lane 31 to roll the final box, and we'll sneak away and come back with a chat with both bowlers and a check on the final score right after these messages. Back at Park Place Lanes and here with Dave Blaine, who has taken home the 3rd place check, $250. You won a match like this last week.
Yeah.
This time it just didn't happen.
No, it was fun while it lasted, though.
Tom Morgan, also a tough competitor. You get the better of the breaks, but I think everybody here could really feel for you, though. You've thrown some first balls, especially, that looked a lot better than they turned out.
Yeah, well, I used my breaks all up in the last couple weeks. And that's the way it goes, I guess. But
well, again, for your first time here, terrific job. 398 to open it a couple of weeks ago and a couple of wins, so we hope to see you again real soon.
Thanks. I hope
All
to
right.
be back.
Dave Blaine, congratulations with the 2 wins. And now we'll call on Tom Morgan this time to throw our bonus ball over on lane 31. We have $50 in the jackpot today, along with a couple of brand new sets of Paramount Industries bowling balls, and there's a half Worcester.
There's lots of those. There's lots of those in here.
Maybe you better draw 2 cards instead of 1. I know you'll be shocked to hear this, Tom, but not a match. Jermaine Pepin, I believe is how it's pronounced, from Lowell, Mass. So you'll be receiving a consolation prize. The guess, by the way, was 7. And I should mention, because I know some of you keep score at home, Tom finished up with a 358 with an 8 in that last box, so 358 to 346. And his kind of a struggle both sides today.
Yeah, I didn't throw the ball well at all. Dave got a couple bad breaks. The end of the first string, I got a couple balls that mixed good. Other than that, I was just as bad. No breaks at all, and threw the ball lousy. Throw the ball lousy, don't get any breaks.
I want to know where your brother is. How come he's not rooting you on here?
3rd shift, he's tired.
Next week, Steve Vadney in for the championship.
I got to bowl a lot better. Steve's a good competitor. I got to concentrate and start throwing the ball better. Hope things will get a little better for me.
We'll see you then.
Absolutely.
All right, Tom, congratulations with the win. And that moves Tom into the finals for next week against Steve Vadney. And, of course, you'll be seeing Steve Vadney in just a moment on our doubles show, as he will be combined with Mike Sargent as they try and knock off Mike Poulin and Brian Uphold. But let's quickly look at the ladder set you up for next week. It'll be our number 3 seed, or rather our number 2 seed, Tom Morgan, against our number 1 seed, Steve Vadney, for the next spot in the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions.
Well, certainly on paper, those guys, it's a good competitive match and welcome addition to the Tournament of Champions, either one of those 2.
All right, don't go away. We've got Stars and Strikes doubles coming up in just a couple of minutes. But for now, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, Doug Brown, so long from Park Place Lanes.